Ready for a deep dive into a story of resilience, one that spans centuries. Today, we're journeying to Ethiopia. It's a nation in Africa, and it really holds this unique distinction, I think, of being the only one to successfully resist European colonization.
It's true. It's a story that I think deserves a lot more attention. And I think through our source material today, a podcast actually called Resilient Voices, we're going to uncover how Ethiopia, through these ancient kingdoms, some really pivotal battles, and this vibrant culture has maintained this spirit of independence for so very long.
I am especially intrigued by the fact that we're going all the way back to the Kingdom of Aksum, which thrived, around the 1st century AD. And this wasn't just any kingdom. So what really made Aksum so special?
Well, Aksum was really strategically located. They essentially controlled the trade routes that connected Africa, Asia, and Europe. So think of it as this global power player, And with a cultural identity that was so incredibly strong, it was solidified even further by, their adoption of Christianity way before a lot of European nations.
Wow. So they were flourishing while much of Europe was still in its early stages of development. That puts things into perspective.
Absolutely. And that deep sense of cultural pride and independence that's woven into the very fabric of Ethiopian society. It's key to understanding their resilience. It's like a thread that runs through their entire history, connecting them to their past and fueling their determination to remain free.
Yeah. And that brings us to the late 19th century, a time when European powers were in a frenzy to colonize Africa, a period that's often called the scramble for Africa.
Yeah.
But Ethiopia stood firm and refused to be another piece on that colonial chessboard.
Exactly. And it was a time when, nearly every other African nation fell under European control. But Ethiopia, led by Emperor Menelik II, they were preparing to make a stand that would send shockwaves across the world.
Let's talk about that pivotal moment, the Battle of Adwa in 1896. Imagine this. Emperor Menelik II commanding a force of 70,000 to 100,000 warriors, ready to face an invading Italian army who were determined to claim Ethiopia for their growing empire.
The sheer scale of this battle was astounding. And what's even more remarkable, I think, is the outcome. Against all odds, the Ethiopian forces achieved this decisive victory, crushing the Italians and shattering that myth of European invincibility.
It's hard to even imagine the impact that this must have had on the world stage.
It was huge. It was a David versus Goliath story. And it really showed that even the most powerful empires, could be challenged.
And the ramifications of this victory, they were enormous.
Right. They were enormous. Adwa became this beacon of hope for oppressed people worldwide. It ignited the fire of resistance, and it inspired countless liberation movements across the globe. It was proof that self-determination and freedom were worth fighting for, even against seemingly insurmountable odds.
But as we know, Ethiopia's fight for freedom didn't end there. In the 1930s, under Mussolini, Italy launched another invasion. They were determined to avenge their earlier defeat and claim Ethiopia as their own.
Yeah. This period, between 1936 to 1941, it was a very dark chapter for Ethiopia. It marked the beginning of a brutal occupation, one where the Italians resorted to horrific tactics, including the use of chemical weapons against the Ethiopian people.
It's a chilling reminder of the lengths that the empires would go to impose their will on others. But even in the face of such brutality, that Ethiopian spirit of resistance, it remained unbroken.
Absolutely. Groups of resistance fighters, known as the Arbegnok, which means patriots, emerged, and they engaged in, relentless guerrilla warfare against those Italian forces. They refused to surrender their homeland, their identity, their freedom.
It's inspiring to hear about their courage and tenacity in the face of, in the face of such overwhelming odds. They were truly fighting for their survival. So did their perseverance eventually lead to liberation?
Yes, it did. The tides turned with the outbreak of World War II. As the war shifted in favor of the Allies, Ethiopia, with the support of British and Allied forces, was able to drive out the Italians and reclaim their independence in 1941.
What a pivotal moment, not only for Ethiopia, but for the global fight against fascism.
Right.
It's a testament to the power of international solidarity and that unwavering spirit of a nation that was determined to be free.
Yeah.
So from the ashes of occupation, a new era began for Ethiopia, guided by a leader who embodied both tradition and progress, Emperor Haile Selassie. He understood the importance of modernization, but he also recognized that vital role of their rich cultural heritage.
He did. He was, a complex figure navigating the challenges of leading a nation into the modern world while also honoring its deep-rooted traditions and values.
It sounds like his rule was this delicate balancing act, but one that was essential for Ethiopia's progress. And it's this dynamic interplay between tradition and modernity that makes their story so fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's this ability to adapt and evolve while staying true to their core identity that lies at the heart of Ethiopian resilience. And speaking of identity, we can't overlook that incredible cultural tapestry that has played such a significant role in shaping this nation's spirit.
You're absolutely right. Let's delve into that vibrant cultural landscape when we return for part 2 of our deep dive into Ethiopia's remarkable story of resilience. We're back, and I'm eager to dive into Ethiopia's cultural landscape. It's not just about battles and political figures, right?
No.
It's the art and the music and the traditions that I think really make a nation's spirit resilient.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Think of Ethiopian culture as this intricate tapestry,
Okay.
Each thread represents a different facet of their identity, and it's all woven together to create something so vibrant and enduring.
Okay, well, so let's start unraveling some of those threads. I mean, where do we even begin with such a rich and diverse cultural heritage?
Well, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church immediately comes to mind. Its ancient rituals and traditions have really been a cornerstone of spiritual and cultural life for centuries, and they've provided a sense of continuity and connection to the past.
And what about Ethiopian music? It seems to have this incredible energy and rhythm that's so unique.
It does. From the haunting melodies of traditional folk songs that have been passed down through generations to the soulful sounds of Ethiopian jazz that they're making waves internationally. There's a vibrancy and a depth to their musical heritage that's just, it's captivating.
I've heard so much about the incredible flavors of Ethiopian cuisine. Is it true that it's a culinary experience unlike any other?
It absolutely is. Ethiopian food is a celebration of flavor. It's a testament to their agricultural heritage and their culinary creativity. That unique blend of spices, the variety of textures, and that communal aspect of sharing meals,
Yeah.
It creates a truly distinct and memorable experience.
And of course, we can't forget the coffee ceremonies. They sound like more than just a drink, they're like a social ritual, a way of life almost.
Yeah, you're right. Coffee ceremonies in Ethiopia are about so much more than just caffeine, It's a time to slow down, connect with others, and just savor the moment. The aroma of those freshly roasted beans, the pouring of the coffee, and the sharing of stories. It creates this sense of community and belonging.
It's incredible how something as simple as a cup of coffee can, it can embody so much of a nation's culture. But from what I understand, it's not just about preserving the past, right? There's also this exciting modern cultural renaissance that's happening in Ethiopia right now.
That's right. There's a new generation of artists, musicians, filmmakers, and writers who are taking those ancient traditions and weaving them into something that's fresh and innovative.
So they're not just holding on to the past, they're actively building on it, creating something new and exciting for the future.
Precisely. Imagine, young Ethiopian artists blending traditional music with modern electronic beats, or filmmakers exploring ancient stories through a contemporary lens. They're pushing boundaries, experimenting, and showcasing their unique perspective to the world.
It's like they're reclaiming their narrative and sharing it on their own terms.
Yeah.
And it seems to be resonating.
It is.
Ethiopian art and music are they're gaining recognition on that global stage, which is fantastic to see.
It really is. It speaks to the power of cultural exchange and the importance of celebrating diversity. Ethiopia's cultural renaissance is, it's a shining example of how tradition and modernity can coexist, enriching each other and creating something truly special.
It's a reminder that resilience isn't just about overcoming adversity. It's also about embracing change, fostering creativity, and constantly evolving while staying true to your core identity.
Exactly. And while Ethiopia's cultural tapestry is undeniably beautiful, it's also important to acknowledge that that the nation still faces challenges. The podcast touches upon issues like political unrest, ethnic tensions, and economic hurdles, that continue to test their resilience.
It's a stark reminder that no nation's journey is without its obstacles. But even in the face of these difficulties, it seems that Ethiopians, they draw strength from their history and their culture and their collective memory.
They do. They've faced countless challenges throughout their history, yet they've Well, they've consistently demonstrated an ability to adapt, to find solutions, and to forge a path forward. It's in their DNA.
It's like they're saying, we've been through tough times before, and we've emerged stronger. We can do it again.
Exactly. And they're actively engaged in finding solutions. They're participating in dialogues, working toward national unity and striving for democratic reforms. They're not shying away from those hard conversations. They're confronting their challenges head on.
That's a testament to their strength and resilience. They're not just passively enduring, they're actively shaping their future.
Right. And that's an important distinction. True resilience isn't about being immune to hardship. It's about having the courage to face those hardships, learn from them, and ultimately emerge stronger on the other side.
That's a powerful message. But Ethiopia's story isn't just about one nation, is it? I mean, its impact extends beyond its borders, offering valuable lessons for the world at large.
You're absolutely right, and that's what I find so fascinating about Ethiopia. Their story speaks to these universal themes of resistance, identity, and the power of unity.
So how does Ethiopia's experience resonate on a global scale? What can we learn from their story about navigating the complexities of our increasingly interconnected world?
Well, for starters, Ethiopia's defiance against colonialism, especially their victory at the Battle of Adwa, it had this ripple effect that inspired liberation movements across continents. It showed that even the mightiest empires could be challenged, that resistance was possible, and that freedom was worth fighting for.
It's amazing to think about that ripple effect of Adwa. It wasn't just a victory for Ethiopia. It was a victory for the very idea of self-determination.
Absolutely. It really sent a powerful message, one that resonated across the globe. And it inspired those who yearned for freedom from oppressive rule. And, in a world that's becoming, increasingly interconnected, yet often divided along these lines of ethnicity, religion, ideology. Well, Ethiopia offers this compelling model for how unity in diversity can be a source of strength.
That's such an important point. They've managed to maintain a sense of national identity while also embracing, the richness of their diverse cultural heritage.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, look, we have all these different ethnic groups and languages and traditions, but we're still one nation, united by a shared history and a common destiny. It's a powerful message, especially in a world where division and polarization seem to be on the rise.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? What can we learn from Ethiopia's journey, both individually and as a global community?
Well, I think on a global level, Ethiopia's story, it reminds us of the importance of solidarity in the face of injustice. Their victory at Adwa, it demonstrated that collective action and international support can make a difference in the fight against oppression.
It's a reminder that we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
And that the fight for freedom and justice anywhere is a fight for freedom and justice everywhere.
Right. And on a more personal level, I think Ethiopia's resilience, it teaches us the power of drawing strength from our heritage and our culture and, our own personal stories. They faced incredible challenges, but they never lost sight of who they were or what they stood for.
It's about, tapping into that inner reservoir of strength, that unwavering belief in ourselves, and knowing that we have the capacity to overcome adversity, just like the Ethiopians have done time and time again.
Absolutely. Their story is it's a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt and to innovate and to persevere, even in the darkest of times.
So as we say goodbye to this captivating world of Ethiopia's resilient spirit, what's the one thought you want to leave our listener with today?
I would say this. No matter what challenges you face in your own life, remember the story of Ethiopia. Remember the power of unity, the importance of heritage, and that indomitable spirit that can reside within each of us. Ethiopia's story is a beacon of hope. It reminds us that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the human spirit can triumph.
Beautifully said. And for our listeners, if this deep dive sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to continue exploring. Delve deeper into Ethiopian history, immerse yourself in their vibrant culture, and discover for yourself that remarkable story of a nation that refused to be broken. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those resilient voices alive.